Good day. Welcome to Westchester Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, and we are produced by Sharc Creative. We are made possible by our good friends at Entergy, the Indian Point Energy Center, supporting our communities right through April of this year, 2021. By Lipolis Electric. Don't be left in the dark. Get Lipolis. By White Plains Hospital. Special thanks to all of our friends, the way they've handled everything for us, our heroes during this COVID-19 pandemic at White Plains Hospital, and by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard. Here we are opening up the month of March with our good friend, John Bailey. John Bailey is the publisher and executive editor of White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, White Plains Citizen Net Reporter.com. John Bailey, welcome back to On the Beat in Westchester. It's been a busy month of February leading into the month of March. How are you, my good friend?
I'm excellent. I'm in good health. I have both vaccinations, and we are very happy, but we're still masking up because of the rogue viruses out there.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've had both vaccines, both ends of the vaccine. Have you felt any effects of having both ends? And I'll preface this by saying I have heard of a few people who have been okay after the first dose, and then after the second dose got knocked back a bit, and it took a few days for them to recover. One person I worked with a number of years ago, a former colleague over in New Jersey, supposedly got very sick after the second dose, and now she's doing okay. She's doing a lot better, but from one person I spoke to, I got the impression that the second dose is what's really packed with power here, and it can knock you back, which leads to the question of the new approval for the Johnson vaccine, which is one dose. As someone said to me, that must really hit you hard with one dose to get everything into you all at once. But from your personal standpoint, after this second dose, any changes noticed in you?
The only thing I felt was a little pain in the left arm afterwards, but other than that, I was fine. I mean, on the other hand, I don't have any pre-existing conditions, but not according to my wife, but I don't think I have any pre-existing.
I thought wives might say we all have a pre-existing condition, right?
Aggravation, that's what it is.
I found that out a long time ago. Maybe that's
exactly.
why.
But
you know what? Leaving that many years ago allowed me to be here and do this all these years later. I might not be doing this had I still had those pre-existing conditions, supposedly, when I was over in New Jersey 20 years ago.
Women are always a problem.
Always. I love the Garden State, no doubt about that. So
that's right.
I look at New York, New Jersey, Connecticut as triplets. Tri-state area. We are all one.
The great Northeast.
The great Northeast, no doubt about that. And yes. Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island, and all the rest we include.
Yes, rapidly becoming amalgamated with the great Northeast.
Very, no doubt about that. John Bailey, the COVID impact here in Westchester this month, March, marks 1 year since we went under into lockdown. We've gotten out of it, a touch here and there. We're still officially under a lockdown of sorts. The impact of COVID 1 year later, the monthly COVID update in Westchester, if you would. Are cases now sliding back down again?
Yes, we are now running in 3.5% positives over the last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, well over 100,000 tests. And this is much better than it was 4 or 5 days ago. However, we are getting infected at the rate of 450 new positives a day. That's a lot of positives.
Okay. All right. That is. Why is this continuing like this? We're masking up, right? We seem to be doing what we need to do, although social distancing, as someone said to me at Macy's over in Roosevelt Field, one of the associates on Saturday at Roosevelt Field Mall on Long Island in Nassau County, when I went to pay for what I was buying, they took me into this socially distanced area that I never would have been allowed into, no customer before COVID. I said, so socially distanced credit card swiping, huh? And the associate looked at me and said, yes, but who distances anymore?
Well, it's carelessness. I think there's a lot of socialization in the last couple of months. And this, I think, is leading to it. But really, I mean, 450 positive a day, that's the average. And that means if you get 5% of them getting hospitalized, that's 20 a day. That's 100 a week. It keeps the pressure on our hospitals and our hospital frontline doctors and nurses, and they are, quite frankly, burning out. And if you keep having this influx that they have to take care of in hospitalizations, this is a problem. It's not about, hey, we still have a tremendous number of empty ICU beds. That's not it. The problem is you are getting an ongoing
it's
virus.
An onslaught every day.
Yeah.
And every
you
week.
cannot tell hospitalizations by just deducting the people that get out of the hospital.
All right, so having restaurants open to a certain capacity now, is that adding to the amount of people who test positive and wind up being hospitalized?
Well, we await to see that. And I don't know, but remember, this went into effect Valentine's Day, the new relaxing of restrictions by America's most romantic governor,
We'll
Andrew
get to
Cuomo.
that.
That's right, exactly. And that was very nice. However, it's now just about 2 weeks later, and we're seeing this 3.5% positive, 450 a day.
Is it? Yeah, that's not very.
I'm not saying it's related to it. It's the numbers of positives and what they mean for the future. And people have to pay attention to that. You have really, Westchester has not enforced anything on masking. They don't fine. They don't make an issue in the towns. They just want you to be nice and mask.
That seems to be
that. Enforcement counts.
That seems to be the status quo, the MO around this tri-state area. Legally, do we have to mask up? Yes. Is that enforced? No. Sometimes I walk out of my front door and I see 50% of the people around my area, if I walk around where I live, without a mask on. And you do want to go up to somebody and say, hey, buddy, mask up, as the governor suggested last year. But you can't do that because this is the Northeast and we're a tough bunch in this part of the country. And that just might be fighting words, as they used to say in the old days. Them's fighting words.
Well, unfortunately, the people that have to do that are the police. The police don't want to get in confrontations. They get into enough confrontations with crime. And I can understand that, but you have to think that the reason we have been so laissez-faire in enforcing restrictions is why we're still running along at 3.5, which is not good. As I point out with the numbers, the more you test, that means the people you don't test, you may still have another 450 somewhere on the same day.
With those you don't test, so who knows?
Yeah,
now, you talked about getting your second vaccine already. Vaccine distribution, has that improved over the past month? We are 3 months into getting vaccines now, at least some of us, and I congratulate you on getting both ends of the vaccination.
Well, I owe that all to Brenda Starr, my wife, who got on the phone when I couldn't get a hold of the pharmacies after Westchester County. I couldn't get through to Westchester County, and she found me an appointment at Westchester County, and then another one down at a pharmacy. And then she got me another one at Westchester County. So, but she was able to get an appointment in the Bronx.
County. When you say Westchester County, you mean at the medical
county
center?
The county center.
Oh, the county center in White Plains.
Yes, right. It was it's a great operation. I can't say enough. It's very efficient. They're not vaccinating enough a day. They're doing 1,000 a day, and they have got if you have a second appointment, they've got the vaccine for it. That's the way they work. Now we're supposedly.
Now, when you walked in for your appointments both times, did you have a long wait? You had an appointment. Still, we know appointment is a loose word. No matter where we go and what we do, you still might have to wait 2 hours. How about you?
I did not, because the first day there was about 50 people in front of me, and after a while there were about 50 people behind me, and I still got a shot within 15 minutes.
Wow. Now that's a great operation.
Twice. It is a great operation.
Yeah.
And I salute them for putting that together. And the courtesy of everybody moving people along was terrific. The system worked, at least at Westchester County. Whether it'll work down at Yonkers on that new facility remains to be seen. But remember, Westchester County, you have flat space, free parking. The Yonkers site is at the top of a hill. If you have to take a bus to it, you got to walk up the hill to it. They should have a shuttle bus up from Getty Square to Quincy Place.
Uh-huh.
It is. I suggested that, but nobody listens to me.
Well, if you drive there, you have to park on the streets in the neighborhood.
Yeah, right. Not good, or you're there, you have to be dropped off. But truly, if you were 65, 70 years old and you have a mobilization problem, like if you're in a wheelchair, if you just have trouble walking up a hill, that's a really dumb place to put it. They should have actually closed Empire City and put it there.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do that, would they?
Well, you can gamble and get a shot at the same time. Would have been a great gambling ad, maybe.
And I was thinking of using that line, John, and so I thank you for using it. I got play the slots and get a shot.
Play the slots and
play a shot. Play a slot, get a shot. Oh my God, what a campaign!
You're a winner if you get the vaccine, and when you play the slots, you could be a winner too. So there you go.
Well, it's not. It really shouldn't joke about it.
You can't win it unless you're in it, right? They're rerunning those. I think they brought that campaign back now again. I thought I saw that on TV last week.
You can't get it if you got it.
You can't get it if you got it. Oh, we hope not, right? There you go. All right.
Well, let's hope. But as far as the distribution, John,
right,
the numbers don't really work because we supposedly are getting 20 million shots from Johnson & Johnson this month.
Right, that's the new.
But that's for the whole area.
Right. That is a one-shot deal from Johnson & Johnson, so we can vaccinate more instead of people having to wait and come back in 3-4 weeks later to get that second shot. So that is a step in the right direction, no doubt.
And the rest of their shots aren't going to arrive to perhaps June or July.
How about the discussion, and this is a wide-ranging discussion depending on who you talk to. Some say, and this is amongst medical experts, some say if you don't have enough vaccines to populate more people, maybe instead of giving people their second shot 3 weeks after they've gotten their first one, use that as a first dose for those who have not been vaccinated yet. And then with the increase in production nationally, we'll get to their second shot. They'll get that second shot eventually. That gets more shots in people's arms and provides at least some protection. I guess with the first dose, you get 50 to 60% protection, and then you get the rest with the second dose. Is it better from what you're hearing amongst science people in the area and those who legislate also too, that might it be better that we skip the second shot for everybody right now, give everybody a first shot, and eventually we'll all get our second shot somewhere down the road, as Barry Manilow might sing, somewhere down the road?
Well, I don't think it is good to take a second shot based on another vaccine. That would bother me. That would bother me. I wouldn't want to do that.
Moderna, you got to get a Moderna. If you got a Pfizer, you got to get a Pfizer. That we understand, and that does put people in position of it's like taking whatever's available. So you have to remember next time around for the second shot. I took Moderna. Now I have to go get a Moderna, or I took.
People can't keep their appointments, so they get upset because I can't do that, and then they wonder why they can't get a second shot until 2 months later.
Right.
You have to appear for that second shot because they will not schedule you for a second shot in the Moderna Pfizer sequences without having enough shots to give you the second one.
Have you come across anything indicating after you get the first shot, how long can you safely wait before getting the second shot, i.e., before that first shot wears out of you and you got to go do it all over again, which we might
4
have
weeks.
to do every year.
4 weeks.
How
Mine was
working.
My interval was 4 weeks, January 17th to February 17th.
So were you told if you come 6 weeks later that the shot you took the first time around is no good, you got to get shot number 1 again?
I haven't been told that, but then, unfortunately, since I've not been a real happy person in my life because I've always done what I was told.
I've heard I don't do what I'm told, so.
Yes, but I mean, my feeling was I wanted to get the shot because I have seen interviews with people who have had it and how painful it was, and you don't want to get this.
Right.
Too much light is made out of the suffering that you do if you are dying from COVID. I have seen very little graphic explanations, or I saw one, it was on the Daily Mail, and I used it, took it on my website, and I said, if the Daily Mail sues me, fine. I think it's a public service they did by airing that. I think it's still on my website someplace. But I mean, this is what happens. Why do people look at traffic accidents on News 12?
Right.
Exactly, because they want to see, oh, I'm glad I didn't do that. But hopefully it will have some sort of safe driving effect. I don't know. But I mean,
we hope. Ever since
I wouldn't want to get it. Look, I'm good looking enough from the eyebrows up, you know.
There you go. So we have to
So I wear a
avoid
mask.
this COVID thing at all costs. No doubt about that. Now,
Well, people don't seem to get that because people now want to go back and they're chomping at the bit to go back. Well, go back, get sick. Right.
Yeah, you can't do that. People are tired of being home and locked down. Well, and I'm willing to do this forever if I have to.
Yeah.
Now, I don't,
Yeah.
we might have to, but will this take forever to get us out of it? It might, I hope not, but I'm willing to do this as long as we have to help protect myself and those around me, and that means everybody I come into contact with in any walk or aspect of my life. John Bailey is the executive editor, publisher of White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, whiteplainscitizennetreporter.com. Find it online. He covers the city of White Plains and all over Westchester County. Whatever is happening, John has it all up to date for you. White Plains Citizen Net Reporter.com.
Whatever gets leaked.
Whatever makes news.
Whatever gets leaked. Right, exactly.
As we say
because
in business.
I only get leaks. Because they don't return calls. They don't answer questions at press conferences. It's unbelievable. And oh, by the way, one thing about COVID that I've learned being in my house for a year is I have everything of comfort. I have books, I have internet, I have adult websites, I have, a wife that cooks terrifically, but I'm still stuck in the house. It's a real routine. I was just wondering, and it hit me the other day, if you were in a jail cell with nothing but bars, a bed and a toilet, it has got to be the most harrowing thing you can ever experience.
Right.
The boredom, the despair just feeds in on itself. And so I've gained a real empathy. There has to be some better way to do a prison.
Well,
if you need to do that, some better way.
To have all the amenities we have during the lockdown here, and I think we both understand that not everyone has that. Not everyone has the space to do what we do, or be in a household where we have this kind of space to do what we do, to isolate in one spot, like where you are and where your studio and your office, my home studio here. I could isolate 24 hours a day if I wanted to, because the studio here, you don't see a wide shot here, but it's big. It's like a separate house by itself, this portion of my residence. And, I'm fortunate to have that, as you are too, obviously, and not everybody has that. And yet there are times when you say, oh boy, what do I do now? Oh, I did that already. How do I keep myself busy and occupied? And there's a lot behind you, I see. Obviously, you stay very occupied, and I do too.
Yes, my wife feels, Brenda, Starr, my wife, feels that it's much too cluttered and she wants to be more.
Right. I say, wouldn't it be great to go to so-and-so's restaurant, sit down and have some broccoli rabe and chicken scaparello, etc. And I understand we still cannot do that right now. You can take it out. You can't do that. It's not good for, and I have to say that being in lockdown here, my diet changed. And I'll say this, I've dropped from about 195 pounds down to 150 when I got on the scale a couple of days ago.
Congratulations. That's just a terrific discipline.
My routines changed. The way I eat changed. I don't have to eat 3 times a day anymore. I kind of regulate. Well, I think I pretty much do regulate most of what I eat, and I eat at a certain time every day, which I did not do before. And I think it's all helped lead to my habits of just how I live my life have changed. And I think that's all worked together to help me get down to a weight where I really would like to be. Maybe I could put a few pounds extra back on, but I like being where I am right now weight-wise. And this has worked for me, no doubt about that.
Well, that's just a terrific achievement. Well, I am just like the COVID positivity rate. I'll get down to about 169, 167, which is my goal. And then I'll get particularly depressed, and 2 to 3 beers or something, or great cocktails. Right. And boom, I'm right back up to 172, 173. And this is the toughest stage, is to push past the goal, which is 167.
Right. Mm-hmm. To maintain what you have and not get, if you pack on a pound or 2 or 3 where we are right now, that's okay, but not to get back into the old habits that we had before. And when lockdown ends, eventually, we have to maintain these habits we've kept during lockdown to make sure that we stay in the kind of weight range that we'd like.
Exercise has suffered. Yeah, I used to swim a lot, but I decided after a lifetime continually, really doctored up the amount of times you can swim. You have to go for a certain time, and the fact that they did get closed down a couple of times because of COVID, but I don't want to go into those locker rooms.
I know a number of people in media and sports world around our area, colleagues and friends of mine, who have dropped pretty much similar amounts of weight like I have by changing their routines. We got locked down, did what we had to do. That change just took effect, maybe unknowingly for all of us too, but it seems to have worked out, at least from that standpoint, in the right direction.
A positive out of a negative.
Right, positive out of a negative, and we do what we can to just keep this rolling here. We've gotten this far with lockdowns and with fighting COVID as best as possible. People like those at White Plains Hospital, like I mentioned when we opened up, one of our sponsors here, all the work they've done, all the hospitals, medical centers, and facilities all around the tri-state area. And we thank you for all you've done, and we look forward to working together with you to keep this going here until we get out of this pandemic. And as we talk here on Westchester Talk Radio, westchestertalkradio.com, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Entergy, the Indian Point Energy Center, supporting our communities through April of 2021. Also brought to you by Wartburg Rehabilitation and Healthcare in Mount Vernon, Park Sterling Realty over in Bronxville, and Michael Labriola Landscape Design and Construction in Armonk. I'm John Marino, and we invite you to check out all of our Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess, Orange, and Fairfield County talk radio programming on our YouTube channel, Sharc Creative YouTube.